Okay, if you're a software developer or a coder or a developer or whatever you want to call it, if you're coding, you're going to be thrown a lot of different advice. Okay, you're going to be thrown a lot of best practices and principles and patterns and all these things you should follow. Okay, now don't get me wrong, all those things are good and it's really good to work on becoming a better coder, but some of them are hard to implement and some of them are hard to follow. However, there is one piece of advice that a lot of coders live by, and if you're not doing it, in my opinion, this is the best bang for your buck. In other words, it's the easiest thing to do to instantly become a better coder. Okay, it's the easiest one to follow, and it's probably the main one that I follow on a day-to-day basis, and that is to dry up your code, or in other words, don't repeat yourself. Okay, let me show you an example.
Okay, so let's say I have a simple React component here, and what I have is a close button, and what happens is when you click on it, you set show modal to true. Okay. Now let's say I want to add another close button, like say in the header, right? Okay, so let's say there's multiple ways to close this modal. All right, so I'll come in here, and let's say I add a button. Okay, and on the click, what I'll do is I'll basically do the same thing. Okay, so I'll do set show modal false. Okay, and then I'll just end that button there. Okay, and there we go. Now, in this situation, this is kind of okay because the thing that we're repeating is only one single line of code. And I would say repeating a single line of code is probably not a bad thing because it's not a ton of logic in one single line of code. However, as soon as you get into multiple lines of code, that's where things get interesting. So let's say when I close the modal, I also want to do something like change the color of something, okay? So let's say we have a state variable called color. Okay, and if we click on close, what happens is what we want to do is we want to set that color to say something like red or something like that. Okay, now if we do that there, I also have to remember, I want to do it everywhere where I'm closing. So I come up here and I do set color to red. Now this is the point right here. At this point, we're repeating ourselves, right? We're doing the same lines of code twice. And as soon as, I would say general rule of thumb, as soon as you get to more than one line, that is a good candidate to dry up your code. Okay, so let's dry up our code here and let's extract these two lines of code out to another function. Okay, so in this case, I'll call it, close modal. Maybe that's not the best name. Okay, and then in here, what I'll do is I'll copy these two lines of code and extract that into here. Okay, now if I do that, all I have to do down here is just call that one function. Okay, and do it like that. Now, again, a lot of coders do this, but a lot of coders sometimes don't think about that just for a couple lines of code. As soon as you start to repeat yourself, think about it. Maybe this is better to be extracted. And you gain a lot of benefits from that. One, it's easier to maintain because you only have to change one place rather than multiple places. Okay. Two, you might get some self-documenting code because if you name this function in a really good way, then you get self-documenting code. So there are a lot of principles out there, but this one, in my opinion, is the easiest to follow and a good way to instantly become a better coder.